Helderluz is getting 2 new maps with the upcoming update. One of them is called Driel, as you've probably heard by now. If you're not familiar with the historic background of this battle, this video will prepare you so you can get more enjoyment from the new map. I will also explain it in the context of the other maps in Helderluz. The story of Driel is an amazing one, as well as a tragic one. In fact, it was part of the largest airborne operation in military history, better known as Operation Market Garden. Let's take a look at that giant operation later in this video though. First, what is Driel? Well, Driel is a small village west of a city called Arnhem in the Netherlands, south of the Rhine River. Being this small, it was quite insignificant, but there was an important landmark nearby. As Operation Market Garden was unfolding, British paratroopers were dropped to take the large railway bridge just east of Driel in nearby Oosterbeek. This was quite an interesting choice for the location of the Helderluz map, as this bridge was actually destroyed by the Germans before the Brits could take it. The landing zone was 3 hours away and the element of surprise was lost. Essentially, the railway bridge was gone right at the start. To give you a good idea of the location we're talking about, a Reddit user called SchmidLR made a nice overlay of the map with the surrounding area. The amount of detail in Helderluz is amazing, isn't it? Interesting twist is that the main Battle of Arnhem was actually taking place at another bridge deeper inside the city, which was the Rhine Bridge. That one is the famous bridge from the movie A Bridge Too Far. So an actual long-term battle on the railway bridge in the new Helderluz map didn't actually happen. So why did the Helderluz developers choose Driel as the location of the new map? One can only guess, but Driel was actually the landing zone for Polish reinforcements that managed to help the defense of the Brits later during the Battle of Arnhem. Based on the information about the roadmap, the Polish will indeed be added later this year as a faction. And there was also the news that armies and equipment will become map specific. So this could be a preparation to add a historically accurate map for the Polish forces to enter the game. In fact, up to this day in real-life Driel, there's an annual walking tour in and around the village in commemoration of the Polish landings. So now that you know what Driel is, let's zoom out a little. Why did all these paratroopers drop there in the first place, and how does this relate to the other Helderluz maps? Operation Market Garden started on September 17, 1944. The war was at a major turning point at that time. The Allies had landed back in June at the beaches of Normandy, represented in-game by the Omaha Beach and Utah Beach maps. After a slow start trying to get a foothold on mainland Europe and clearing the forces from the French countryside, such as Saint-Marie-de-Mont and Saint-Mère-Église, the Allies captured the entirety of France and a large part of Belgium from July until September 1944. The German forces were retreating back to the German border, but logistical issues made it hard to keep up with the chase for the Allies. On the Eastern Front, the Soviet Union was quickly gaining territory as well. By September, a large part of Romania, as well as Poland, was lost by Germany, so both fronts provided a big challenge for the Germans. At the end of August, Allied forces had taken most of Belgium and France and were lining up near the German border. Supreme Allied Commander Eisenhower wanted to capture the German Ruhr area with a pincer movement. This specific area was the heart of the German war industry and it was located right next to the Netherlands. Capturing this could mean ending the war by Christmas 1944. The southern part of this September 1944 offensive ended up in the Battle of Hurtgen Forest. This became the longest battle in US military history. I actually made a video about this Helderluz map and its story before, so check this out. The northern part of this pincer movement became Operation Market Garden, so let's focus on this specific operation. The main objective of Operation Market Garden was to secure 9 bridges and open an invasion route for the main Allied armies in Belgium into Germany. From here the Ruhr area could be taken and from there Berlin could be the next objective. By going north through the Netherlands, the Allies could circumvent the northern end of the heavily fortified Siegfried Line, if that rings a bell. This was a defensive line with over 18,000 bunkers and fortifications that was located opposite to the similar French Maginot Line. Both Helderluz's Hurtgen Forest map and Hill 400 map take place in this area. Operation Market Garden, under command of Field Marshal Montgomery, consisted of 2 sub-operations. Operation Market was the first phase. After bombarding German positions in the region, a massive airborne force of 35,000 men would be dropped into the Netherlands to capture 9 bridges, of which the last one was the bridge in Arnhem. Operation Garden was the second phase, during which the Allied main armies in Belgium would move north across these bridges, reinforcing the paratroopers. Then they would continue on towards the German border to be ready and close the pincer. Operation Market Garden as a whole was a very controversial operation, as in the end it did fail, with lots of losses as a result. Depending on the estimates you read, around 30,000 soldiers lost their lives, were injured or captured. There have been many discussions about how and why it failed, but that's not within the scope of this video. Some of the reasons were the short preparation time of 1 week, intel that wasn't fully used, like the sudden presence of 2 SS Panzer divisions in the region, the bad weather, and the ambitious plan in the first place. There was also the extreme challenge of the supply lines due to the geography, with the one main road being named Hell's Highway due to it being very vulnerable to enemy attacks. Most of the bridges across the different rivers, including the one at Nijmegen, were actually captured, but the offensive came to an end in the city of Arnhem. In Arnhem, the British paratroopers were dropped far from the actual bridge, as intel had shown lots of German air defenses in the region. It turned out it wasn't as much as expected, but due to the far off drop, the troops had to walk far with their heavy equipment in order to get to the city. This eliminated the element of surprise. Despite this, Lieutenant Colonel John Frost's 2nd Parachute Battalion managed to capture the northern side of the Rhine Bridge. It became a legendary story, as they defended this part of the bridge relentlessly against German attacks for days without any supply line or even outside communication. Due to all the difficulties elsewhere in the operation, they were never relieved. More paratroopers were dropped at the previous drop zone, but the German defenses were too strong and they've never been able to reach Frost's battalion. Due to all of the delays, especially in the Battle of Nijmegen, Germany managed to reinforce the Arnhem area and the Allied forces had to retreat to Oosterbeek. In defense of the outgunned and outnumbered paratroopers, Polish paratroopers were dropped in Driel under command of General Sosabowski, which prevented another attack from Germany. In the end, the Allied forces received the order to retreat and Operation Market Garden had officially failed. Despite not achieving its main goals, parts of the Netherlands were liberated before the entire country would be liberated more than half a year later. Today, the name of the Rhine Bridge in Arnhem is the John Frost Bridge. So this was a short summary of what happened at Driel and the larger Operation Market Garden. Hopefully you learned something new and will this enrich your Hell Let Loose experience. Please like and subscribe and see you in the next one.